All right, so section 2.3D part 2. So it's really just supposed to be 2.3D, but we cut it into two parts because of parallel and perpendicular lines. Today we're focusing on the perpendicular lines, but the instructions on top of the first four problems are going to tell you, are these parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Okay, but first, let me just do a quick reminder here. Parallel lines. So parallel lines, these are lines that have the same slope. Okay, let me highlight that part right there. Lines, same slope. So those are pretty easy. Whenever they tell you, write me an equation of a line that's parallel to this line, you're just going to look at the line, say, what's the slope on that line, then copy it over to the other one. Okay? So that's what you guys did last time. Okay? And most of you guys did okay on the quiz. There was like a couple that didn't do the problem, but for the most part, most of you guys did it and you were fine. Okay? Now, perpendicular lines. Oh, by the way, notation. Sometimes you'll see shorthand notation for parallel lines. It's like that. Two vertical lines, like the two L's for parallel. That's what the notation is for parallel lines. So if you ever see me do shorthand where I put two vertical lines like that next to each other, that means parallel lines, okay? Perpendicular lines. Once you get into higher level math, they actually call these orthogonal. I don't know why we changed the name, but okay. But perpendicular lines, these are lines that have opposite reciprocal slopes. Lines that have opposite reciprocal slopes. The notation for this is an upside down T, meaning a line crosses the other line at 90-degree angles, okay? So 90-degree angle intersection. So that's the perpendicular lines. Now, what exactly does opposite reciprocal mean? So just to show you here, if I give you 2/3, the opposite reciprocal means opposite sign, so negative. Reciprocal means flip it. So you flip it and switch it. That's what I always tell people. Flip and switch. That's what you're going to do for a perpendicular line. Flip the number, switch the sign. So if you had like a -4, what does 4 look like when I flip it? 1/4, and then I switch the sign, it'll be positive, right? So flip it and switch the sign. Flip it and switch the sign. So I always tell people, flip it, switch it, okay? If you don't want to remember opposite reciprocal, just remember flip it and switch it, okay? So that's what we're doing today. We're going to be using perpendicular slopes, all right? And then from there, we'll check to see if lines are parallel and perpendicular, etc. Okay? So let me start off with a couple of examples here from your first set of homework problems. So these are going to say determine if these lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Hey, remember, parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. And neither means that it's not parallel, it's not perpendicular. So here we go. So just tell me whether they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, so the first one, this is the way it's going to look. Now, actually, I'm lying. Don't write the second equation down yet, okay? But just look at it, because I'm going to move it. This is the way they give you the work, okay? They're going to say, are these parallel and perpendicular? But what I normally like to do is I like to get the second equation, and I like putting it side by side, okay? That way it's easier for me to do the work. Okay, I'm not going to solve for one equation as when the other one's right under it. It's going to look really weird. So let me go ahead and put that right under, to the side. So if I want to check if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, I have to write the equation of the line, right? Which means I got to solve for y, which is something we learned 3 sections ago, right? This is what I'm telling you guys. You can't escape it, right? You can't wait out the math. You have to learn it, right? At least a little bit, okay? So when you don't get something, go back, revisit, okay? So let's go ahead and solve for y here. I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. So 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 4. And then to solve for y, I'm going to divide everything by 3. Okay, so divide by 3 all the way across. Y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 4/3. All right, so what's the slope on this line right here? All right, thank you. Negative 2/3. I'm going to highlight that, okay? That's all I care about. I could care less about the 4/3. Okay? Being parallel or perpendicular has nothing to do with the y-intercept. It has everything to do with the slope. Okay? Now let's do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to change colors just to show a different process here. So we're going to subtract 3x. I get 2y is equal to negative 3x plus 6. And then I'm going to divide everything by 2. Y is equal to negative 3/2 x plus 3. What's the slope on this one? Negative 3/2. Okay. Are these parallel lines? No, because they're not identical. Are these perpendicular lines? No. Are they almost? Yeah, they are flipped. They're just not switched with the signs. So in this case, I'm going to write neither. Okay, that's it. That's all you got to do. But yes, there's work before that. And some of you guys are struggling with that part of the work, the solving for a variable, right? We got to try to fix that. If you're having issues with that, we got to try to fix it. So, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew, but grading period grades opened up yesterday. That means you guys are going to be getting a report card coming in soon. Okay? Pretty soon. I think it closes next week. So that means either that same week or the week after you'll be getting a progress report. And I think they only do it online now, right? No mail. So it'll be online. So you tell your parents, don't, it's up to you. But when I was younger, it used to come in the mail, and if my grades weren't great, I could always intercept them and like check them and then see, throw them in the sewer or something, right? Don't let anybody see them. You guys, well, now it's online, so there's no way, there's no escape anymore. By the way, I never did that, but my brother did twice. I remember seeing him do that. He didn't want my parents to see his grades. So, all right. Let's try one other one. So the one I just gave you was an actual problem that you guys have to do. Here's another one. And again, I'm writing these side by side on purpose because I don't like to work one on top of the other. After this, I'm going to give you a third example that's not on your homework. It's super easy. There's not a lot of work to do. You really just have to think about it. You don't really have to do much. So the first equation, I don't have to do anything for it. It's set up. 4/3 is my slope. Okay? Perfect. Next one. Well, I got to solve. So let's subtract 4x. So negative 3y equals negative 4x plus 21. And then we're going to divide everything by negative 3. So divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3 here and here. So we get y equal to 4/3 x minus 7. And what's the slope for my next one? For the one I just did? 4/3. Are these lines parallel?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are, right? Perpendicular? No, they'd have to be flip the number, switch the sign. So this is parallel, so we're good. Let me just write down parallel, and that's it. So you're just checking, okay? So originally, in the first assignment I gave you in 2.3 D1, I don't know if you guys remember, Ashley asked me the question, like, I didn't understand the instructions. It said parallel, perpendicular, or neither. And I told you guys, like, I forgot to change the instructions since I didn't teach you everything at once. Those instructions made no sense, right? So I just wanted it to be parallel, yes or no, right? So now it's going to be parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Now here's the one, this one, it's not on your homework, but there is one like this on your homework, okay? But this is what they're going to do. Like, that's it. What kind of line is x equal to 2? It's straight up and down. Yeah. What kind of line is y equals to negative 3? Side to side. So if you get a line that's side to side and a line that's straight up and down, are those parallel? No. Are they perpendicular? Yeah. If they're going straight up and down and straight side to side, they're creating a 90-degree angle when they cross each other. That's perpendicular. So for these, all you got to do is just think about it. And that's it. You're done with this problem. You don't have to do anything. Okay? Now, if you really wanted to check, your slope for the first one, x equals 2, is going to be undefined. The slope for y is 0. Okay, that's the best you can do. So they don't match, so they're not parallel. But undefined means straight up and down. 0 means side to side. So it's going to cross at 90 degrees. So it is going to be perpendicular. So there will be one question like that on your homework. So I basically gave you the answer for it. But it's not this one. But it's going to look very similar. Okay? All right. Aside from that, I'll see if I can do 2 more from here, and then I'll leave the rest for you guys. There's going to be 6 problems. And remember, it's only one-sided. The back side is empty. Okay? So you only have 10 problems here. The back side is going to tell you this. Write the slope-intercept form. So notice we are not escaping this. Okay, we still write this form in Calculus BC. I still used to write this form when I was in my senior year of math in college. Okay? We are not escaping the slope-intercept form. It's there forever. It's the most commonly used way to write an equation. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? The reason why we do it is because it's the easiest one to graph from. Okay? It's the easiest one to graph from. So we want to keep it, because why am I going to want to graph off of a form that makes it difficult, right? Whatever makes it simple, use that. So write the slope-intercept form of a line given, given the following. So we're going to say it goes through this point, 3, 0, and then they're going to write perp. They're just not writing perpendicular, but they're going to write perp to y equal to 3/2 x minus 4. So I get to write a whole new equation, okay? But it has to be perpendicular to that. Okay, I'll highlight that for us here. Perpendicular. So what's the slope of